What is going on, everybody? And welcome back to Money Mondays, the exclusive live event series by Creator Match, where we interview creators asking how they're making money on LinkedIn and brands, how they're spending money on LinkedIn. And today we have such a special treat. One of my close friends, Eileen, who's the influencer marketing manager at Hootsuite, who I just had the pleasure of meeting in Vegas last week for Creator Economy Live. So, Eileen, what is going on? How are things? Where are you calling from today?
Yeah, no, I'm calling in from Vancouver, and thanks for having me. I'm super excited to chat about all things influencer and speak to a bit of our campaign as well.
And you guys have been doing so much in the B2B space, especially on LinkedIn. And seriously, I would put you on when I said this in Vegas as well, the Mount Rushmore of companies doing it right and doing it fun in the space. So much of B2B is just frankly boring. I think we've seen a lot of this outdated playbook being run. And literally every campaign that you guys do is just more fun, more exciting, more engaging. And it still leads to leads, and it still does a ton on every part of the marketing funnel. So for people who maybe don't know you or don't know Hootsuite, maybe they're living under a rock as of today, what's your role at Hootsuite and what does Hootsuite do?
Yeah, really good question. So I'm on the social team. So when I first started out, my role was all about bringing awareness and content creation lens to our Hootsuite owned social channels. And within the past couple of years, I've grown a passion for influencer marketing. So I've been able to officially add that into my role. I like to say, being on the social team, I wear many hats. So I'll work on content creation, I'll work with the brand team, but also do influencer marketing. I also manage our employee advocacy program. So it really is a lot of different things all built into one. And it's been such a fun ride. For those of who don't know what Hootsuite does, it's a social media performance platform essentially. So does everything, not just scheduling, but we do a deep dive into analytics. We have a really robust social listening tool. We have an employee advocacy tool as well. So anything social media marketing related, essentially our platform does. So it's been really cool to be the social media manager for a social media marketing company, because I feel like those two things really go hand in hand. And I'm able to work directly with product to ensure that whatever we bring out to light is something that I myself and other social media managers would want to use. So yeah, that's my spiel about everything.
And it's so funny because when you were describing your role, it almost felt like you were describing a team of 50 people. I mean, you
Yeah.
said social listening, influencer marketing, campaigns, omni-channel, social media management. We were just talking about what's going on right now with Duolingo and
Mhm.
everything on that side of things. And just you're always on the cutting edge of every new trend. You're even basically creating these trends as they come about. But I believe it's a small team, or is it literally just you on this influencer marketing team at Hootsuite?
Yeah, so we're a team of 4 people.
Okay.
I mainly lead our influencer marketing efforts, but our team like supports as well. And I think what's really nice is working in a team where it's built off of trust and you have the
Mm.
flexibility to have a free reign and really go for an idea that you have in mind. So that's been really cool. I know a lot of people talk about when you work in social, you go through so many approvals and there's all these steps just to get content out the door. But we're very fortunate enough where we're able to, really go with what we think is going to work best. And I think that's all built off of trust. So having a good team has really helped us flex our creativity.
Amazing. And for those who might not know who I am, I'm the founder and CEO of Creator Match. We match brands with LinkedIn creators. We have a platform and agency. We've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on LinkedIn creators and paying out this community that historically has never been paid a dollar. And companies like Hootsuite and folks like Eileen are really leading the charge. So it's so great to chat today. And for today, Eileen, obviously you guys have done many campaigns. The focus for today will be about this giant newsletter that hit every single social media feed that took over the social media world. But before we dive into the last one that was the most recent one, there's 3 total campaigns that I want to talk about. So the first one was the More Social Budget. The second one was Social Media Career Report, which was like dude with the sign. And the
Mhm.
last one is the Social Media Trends Report, which is that giant newspaper. So starting in that order, and we have an example here. And this, for all the viewers watching this looks like those happy to announce posts on LinkedIn that do very well. For whatever reason, I guess people love to congratulate people when they have their successes
Mhm.
on LinkedIn. It's a place where you share your job updates, but this is not a job update, right? And this looks, and I'll show you exactly as well. I'll pull up the exact LinkedIn post here from Jack Appleby, another LinkedIn creator. and it's a little GIF as well. Obviously your designer probably customized this, but
Mhm.
tell me more about this specific campaign, how the idea came about, and the overall performance.
Yeah, for sure. So, well, I guess last year, Hootsuite was able to acquire Talkwalker, and by being able to from the acquisition, we have a very robust social listening tool, and so we wanted to be able to work with creators to basically bring awareness that we're now shifting from social media management to social media performance, and to get to performance, social listening is that key to help you do that. And so that's when the whole idea of being able to secure more social budget came in by being able to leverage social listening and grab the insights, you're able to really make that action and create that impact. And that impact is going to help you secure more budget from your executives. So we thought, why not really lean into something that's native to LinkedIn consumers and do a play on those badges? Whether you get a new job or you get a new certificate, it comes with that very classic LinkedIn graphic, and we wanted to have our own play on that. So we worked with our amazing designer who created all those assets. I think we worked with around 8 creators in total, and we were able to push out that narrative of, look, like these creators, they were able to unlock more budget. We're giving you the resources to do so. Now it's your turn.
I love it. No, it makes a ton
Yeah.
of sense. And one of the takeaways that you mentioned was that you really focus on creative that's native to the platform. Like this would not perform well on Instagram. This wouldn't perform well on a YouTube or a TikTok. It's not native to the platform.
Mhm.
So how does that thought come into play as you're running these omni-channel strategies? And are you doing something custom per platform, or how does LinkedIn change the narrative or the game around all these different types of creative?
Yeah, for sure. I think with our influencer strategy, we've really honed in on LinkedIn. It's the best platform when you're wanting to speak directly to those decision makers. And as well, our target audience is social media managers. And there's an amazing community of social media managers on LinkedIn supporting each other, which I love. So as someone that always consumes social, I want to make sure whatever campaign I'm putting out is very native to that platform,
Mm,
because that's going to capture their attention. And I'm not a huge fan of cross-posting everything. I don't think that's the best strategy, and the content gets old. So I always like to approach things with a fresh lens and think about it network to network. So with this specific campaign, or with most of our influencer campaigns, they happen to all be on LinkedIn. So I like to focus on what's going to work best from that
And
standpoint.
and how do you understand what is native to the platform? I mean, is that just true consumption and getting inspiration from just seeing what works, or is it from running different types of tests? Like if I'm someone watching and I'm either a creator or on the brand side as a marketer, and I want to do something similar around this example of a campaign, how do I find out what works on LinkedIn?
Yeah. That's a really good question. I don't have the actual answer to that. Yes, like I'm always consuming so much content on social media. I feel like I never sleep. But as someone that is always scrolling on LinkedIn, I have a folder of a bunch of saved posts that I draw inspiration from, and they're not necessarily like sponsor posts. It could just be a specific creative that I saw that I thought was really eye-catching that I want to recreate in the future. So when there's a campaign that I want to work on, I look through my folder and I'm like, oh, like this was cool. What's a way we can approach this in a refreshed lens. I would
Sure.
also say working on a highly creative team as well. It's not all just me. We have a brand team that we have the pleasure of brainstorming with, and they come to the table with a lot of amazing ideas that are always social first. So
Mm.
that collaborative work is the piece to help us get there.
I love it. And moving to the second campaign that we want to talk about today was this dude with a sign
Mhm.
inspiration. So if anybody's seen, this guy holding this sign that has, I think, like 7 million followers now on Instagram and very big on all platforms, holding the sign, but it was very much B2C focused and was more so a little bit of everything. It wasn't really tied to, let's say, social media. So how did this brainstorming come about? Did you actually send these, is it AI generated photos? Or these actual physical posters that the creators were to write something custom? So you have a little brand element, the brand colors, but they all write something custom. Tell me more about this dude with a sign campaign for Social Media Career Report.
Yeah, for sure. This is actually my favorite campaign, and it was the first time we ever got to work with LinkedIn creators. So that one always holds a special place in my heart. With the social media career report, this was the first time where we built a report all off of the career of a social media manager. So it talked about the challenges you may face in the role. It talked about pay. It talked about things that you would love, or also talked about ways you can land your dream role in social media. So anyone that's trying to break into the space, that was the perfect report for you. And so our main goal here was to spread, yes, we wanted convergence, but it was more so spreading brand love and really activating this community of social media managers that was on the rise on LinkedIn. And that's when we had the idea of, let's lean into a trend. Dude with a sign is very visually captivating, and let's create our own whiteboards, and let's design it and send it out to them and have them write their own hot take. And that hot take is very personalized to them. So whether it's social media manager is not an intern's role, or whatever that sentiment may be, we
Sure.
sent the whiteboards over to them physically, and we had them write whatever they wanted that spoke to one of the findings in our reports. So what was nice about it is every single one was personalized. You can kind of see their own personality shine through. So when it got posted, people really resonated with it because they said this is very true to what they stand for. I'm a social media manager too, and it's highly relatable. And the most rewarding part was just being able to read the comment section and see all that love show through. So that was definitely one of my favorite campaigns.
And how much of physical played into the success of this digital campaign? Because it's really interesting where you have a physical element, and we're going to talk about the newspaper, the giant newspaper in a second. It seems like that's a big thread in all of the campaigns that you're doing. I mean, obviously it's more work. It's a bit more expensive. You have to collect shipping addresses. You have to actually send them something physical. You have to check on everything. But tell me about the bridge between physical and digital influencer campaigns on LinkedIn.
Yeah, for sure. So as you probably know, we've seen a lot of success with sending physical products. I think when you are scrolling, you really only have a couple seconds to really captivate a user's attention. So anything that's big, bold, and flashy, you're going to want to stop your scroll and read more about what they have to say. And because we found success in it, it's something that we continue to want to like hone in and work on. The one of the trends that I've identified in our trends report, not to be salesy, but it was all about creative disruption, and that is something that I'm seeing a lot of brands doing, stepping outside of the box and going beyond your conventional sponsored posts. So whether it's sending an actual newspaper, or as you can see, like a whiteboard, or maybe doing like in real life activations, or having them do man on the street interviews, anything that is able to break that bridge between physical and digital, I think is what we'll continue to see more. And it's what is going to keep audiences captivated. So that's where I see a lot of brands treading in this year.
We have to dive deeper into that. I've never actually heard that phrase, creative disruption.
Yeah.
Like, take me deeper into that thought, how you think about these campaigns and what I can take away as a listener.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things I like about our campaigns a lot is that it's always rooted in creativity. So whenever we start with a campaign, we have our core goal. So this is our larger organizational goal, and all of our different marketing funnels are helping support that goal. And so let's say I'm wanting to run a convergent campaign. If that's the case, I try to put myself in that user's shoe and think, what is going to make me click on that link and actually download that asset? The first thing is I need to capture their attention. And so I want to work with other thought leaders that people follow and they respect. So that is like your one foot in the door. The next thing, okay, I need to capture their attention. I need something that's really visually captivating. So what does that look like? Is there a certain trend I can hop into? Is there lingo I can use? Is there something new that's up and coming on social media that I can leverage to my advantage? I would take a look at that. And then it's all about the last part for me is making sure that partnership feels authentic to you. Whenever I work with creators, I like to hop on a call with them. I want to have that personal touch of understanding what they're like, what type of content they like to post about, and what is natural to them. There's been a lot of moments where I would create a brief, I would hop on call and say, this is what we're hoping for. And they would say, hey, I'm on board, but I don't really want to post a video. It's not natural to me. I like to do text only posts, or I like to do just images. And I want to be able to lean into that. They're the expert. They know what works best on their platform. So by being able to be proactive and work with them and have that flexibility, I think that's what kind of bridges a successful campaign on LinkedIn.
I mean, I can tell you that's going to be our entire newsletter edition, pulling up all the insights from this is the creative disruption. And I'm just taking notes here, bridging the physical and the digital, having a call. I don't think it's always about outsourcing. Like I know, shout out to AG1 or Athletic Greens, who we partner with at Creator Match. The requirement is a minimum 15-minute call with every creator they work with, because they want to chat through the product, how they like it, any feedback. Feedback is such a big part, as well as, hopefully they're using Hootsuite. What do they like about it? What they want changed? It shouldn't just be, hey, here's the promo. And you also mentioned authenticity. And it was interesting where the dude with the sign, you sent them a blank poster. You didn't send them a poster with the message the same for everyone. So I love how it had the brand colors, it had the brand logo, but it was blank. It was a blank, like branded canvas. And the creator went crazy with the best format and the best messaging for it. So I absolutely love that. And you also spoke about the post format and kind of what's most relevant for the creator. And I know that you are a user of our new Chrome extension, but a great thing that you can do here, this is Jade, who is in the campaign that we'll talk about in a second, is just going to her stats. You can see all the different types of formats that she uses. Or on the post side here, if I only want to see her sponsored content that's text and image, you can kind of see everything here. And obviously this one was the campaign that we'll talk about in a second. So shifting gears and diving into social media trends 2025 report, which literally, in my opinion, like took over the internet. Everyone was talking about it. So these giant campaigns were actually pretty common in the B2C world. And you can see here, I know Poppy and J. Crew had these giant magazines. How did the idea come about? And like, how did you legitimately make these giant newsletters that was just so fun? And it was like the real world mixed with, this oversized creativity.
Yeah, really, truly the power of a newspaper. So what we noticed was the trend of oversized marketing really taking over, and it wasn't just newspapers. It could have been huge billboards, or it could have been like a really big product. I saw a lot of like PR packages being sent to influencers, and it was always so oversized, and that would kind of take over the feed, and it would really capture people's attention. So the initial idea was sending out an oversized copy of our report, because we thought that would be a very captivating way for people to actually read what we have to say. But then I wanted to lean into something that was a bit more native to how, to how like people consume media and newspapers. Everyone has seen a newspaper before, so that's kind of how we landed on that idea. We were able to work with a designer, and he found us an amazing vendor and printer company. Our designer created these big scale newspapers. We went through a couple of rounds of revisions, and we got them printed, and then we shipped them off. So it was a long journey to get there, and some shipping mishaps here and there, but it was an influencer campaign without us a couple small mishaps. But all in all, it was so amazing to see the reaction of our creators, even receiving the newspaper, seeing them go above and beyond and not just create one sponsored post. But for example, Jade created a vlog about her filming day with our newspaper. We had a couple people post about it on their other networks apart from LinkedIn. So, and we also saw a lot of earned mentions as well. We saw a lot of people that we didn't work with, promoting the report as well. So all in all, just being able to see all that brand love was amazing to see. And I'm still floored and amazed that this one campaign really struck a chord with social media managers. And yeah.
And I think it was interesting where you said the behind the scenes, and it's not always just about the drop, right? Or the launch day, but there's so much that happens behind the scenes. And one of my favorite posts that you've ever made on LinkedIn actually was from your role taking us behind the scenes. And I know it's a bit blurry, but basically what you're seeing here is screenshots of like really getting in the weeds of the posting calendar and the inspiration, almost as if it was a Pinterest style mood board, right? So how does your actual workflow go about with these campaigns? I mean, I'm literally seeing here like the physical, pieces of the poster and this Pinterest style board and the ideas. Like, what does it actually look like on your computer as you're running these campaigns behind the scenes?
Yeah. A really good question. I get to add project management as part of my role now because it's a lot to be able to track 12 influencers at the same time. But it always starts with our campaign kickoff. So we have like one goal in mind. And let's say for this particular launch is like, how do we get people to read our report? How do we get more content downloads essentially? And so I was given free reign of like, okay, like this is what our goal is. Let's activate influences for this. And Eileen, take it away. Create a brief and pitch it. So we came up with the idea. I passed it over to our larger team. Everyone was kind of on board. And then the next step for me is making sure I find the right creators for a campaign like this. So keeping in mind, what does that ideal creator look like, whether it's the number of followers or the theme that they speak to, their engagement rate, having that different persona in mind and going and for me, scouring over LinkedIn to find them. But if I had your tool back in the day, that would have been useful. But once I'm able to identify who those people I want to partner with, I take it from there. I reach out, hop on a call, send over the brief, work on it very closely, and then send all the packages off and go through a couple rounds of approval to make sure everything looks good to do. Looks good to go, and then cross my fingers and make sure launch date as well. So all in all, a really lengthy process, but we were able to pull it all together, I think, in 2 months. So I feel like for those 2 months, this campaign took over my life, but it was all worth it in the end.
All worth it. And sometimes those chaos moments are what you're known for as a company, as you as a thought leader in the space as well. Looking back on this crazy time, I mean, probably one of, I would say, at least top 2, top 3 campaign ever around LinkedIn creators on the platform. What was something that surprised you about the campaign? And what is something that you learned that you would do differently?
Really, really good question. Um, Something that surprised me about that campaign, I guess the scale of the performance of that campaign. So a lot of people actually missed this, but the campaign had 2 sponsor posts. So the first one was, yes, the launch of, hey, our trends dropped, read the report, and they were holding the newspaper upright. And then we had a second sponsor post that went out where it was the inside of the newspaper, and we had our creators take a photo, and we photoshopped it to say to speak to a trend from the report that they really resonated with. So it was a kind of a two-prong approach. I didn't predict that the first post would do that insanely well. So I feel like that took over the feed. And when we launched with the second one, there were less eyes on it, or we saw the same people downloading the same asset. So it didn't count as a new conversion per se. So if I were to do the two-step sponsor post, maybe I would make the landing page different or go to a different resource. I think that would have been a bit more bang for your buck kind of situation. But I did like that we were able to package the partnership as a whole. So yeah, that's like one thing I would change moving forward.
And what would you say is the biggest lesson learned or takeaway from this campaign, other than that of kind of not knowing about those 2 differences? And it's interesting, it was one was them with the newspaper and one was
Mhm.
actually seeing inside the
Yeah.
newsletter or
Yeah.
newspaper, excuse me. But just like a lesson learned or any advice coming out of this campaign for creators, brand
Yeah.
marketers, anyone in the space?
I think communication is the biggest thing. Whether it's like in my personal life or at work, I am an over communicator. So making sure that you set those expectations early on. It could be small things like you can reach me best over email, or I respond back to emails within 2 to 3 business days. Whatever the expectation is from you as a brand and from you as a creator, laying that out there is really important. If launch day is coming soon and I'm not hearing back from someone, then I'm feeling a bit uneasy. And I want to make sure all of our stakeholders have approved the final asset, have approved the copy, and that we're good to go. So, yeah, I just think being able to be very transparent with the person you're working with is important. Obviously, I know things come up and timelines are pushed. That's okay. But I don't think as a brand you should ever be surprised about something. So from the creator end, making sure you're doing your due diligence on informing them I'm taking some vacation or I updated this copy. That small communication, personally for me, really goes a long way. So I would not overlook communication when embarking on your own influencer campaigns.
And I think it also goes both ways, right? Like I've had those
Sure.
brands that maybe don't say that they're going on maternity leave for 6 months and you just, it's crickets, right? And at least like a heads up would be great for everybody involved in a campaign. But also on the creator side, if you're also going away for a couple of weeks and it's the days before launch and you have something physical waiting at your doorstep and there's all these parts and there's payment involved, communication's everything. And also what we've seen at Creator Match, it's not just the highest performing creators that we want to work with again and again. It's the ones that are a joy to work with. They go out of their way to make the campaign a success,
Sure.
that want this to be more than a simple transaction, right? And communication is something that's so small, yet so important. Last question I have for you, Eileen.
Mhm.
What is your hot take? Could be on social media, could be on LinkedIn as a platform, influencer marketing overall. I would love your mic drop hot take moment, and then we'll end today's Money Mondays.
Yeah, my mic drop hot take, I has really nothing to do with what we talked about right here. But when I was at speaking at CEL, one of the questions I got asked is what is an overused influencer marketing tactic? And in my mind, it was those really crazy brand trips or even what we've seen with Poppy recently. I think doing things at that much of a grand scale, I think makes a huge impact. But what I would love to see brands do more moving forward is rewarding their customers. So maybe it's sending your own customers on a brand trip, or maybe it's sending, our newspapers or influencer packages to your customers that that you have been able to build a relationship with. I would love to see more of that type of authenticity moving forward. So yeah, that would be my tidbit or my mic drop.
So there's no Poppy vending machine waiting outside your
No,
place in Canada.
fortunately not.
No.
No.
Okay. But it sounds like you're going to maybe tap in and source customers who use Hootsuite as potential influencers or creators for future campaigns.
Yes, for sure.
I love it. Amazing. Well, Eileen, we are at the half hour. Thank you so much for your time. This was an absolute masterclass in social media marketing, influencer management, and just how to come up differently with creativity on a platform that's traditionally boring like LinkedIn. So thank you so much. Can't wait to share this with the world. And you are amazing. Thanks so much for the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.